Hello, my friends. Tonight we're diving into the misty heart of Camelot, where legends spark like fireflies, and you're about to chase a sword that's more trouble than a barrel of mead. Picture yourself on a foggy moor, your boots crunching damp leaves, a tattered cloak flapping like it's trying to escape. You're no knight, let's be honest. You'd swing a sword and hit yourself, but somehow, you're tangled in the tale of King Arthur and Excalibur. Spoiler, you're going to fumble this quest, probably while a squirrel laughs from a tree. So, before you get cozy, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you actually enjoy what I'm doing here. Drop a comment with where you're listening from and what time it is. I love imagining you snuggled up across the globe. Now, turn off the lights, switch on the fan for that gentle hum, and let's start tonight's journey together. You're trudging through Camelot's wild edges, the air heavy with mist that tickles your nose like a damp feather. A raven swoops low, its caw sharp, like it's warning you to turn back. You ignore it, because your curiosity's stronger than your sense, and you're chasing a tavern, rumor, a sword, stuck in a stone, promising a crown. Your stomach growls. Medieval snacks are grim, just crusty bread and a lump that's allegedly cheese. You'd trade your cloak for a taco, but you're stuck here, drawn to a glow in the distance. The path opens to a clearing, and there's the stone, pulsing with faint light, Excalibur's hilt gleaming like a star trapped in rock. This is the orthodox event, Arthur pulling Excalibur from the stone, a moment carved into every chronicle as the birth of a king. You're not Arthur, so you give the sword a tug, grunting like you're wrestling a mule. It doesn't budge. A peasant nearby snickers, muttering about another dreamer. You flash a grin. This is like a medieval claw machine. But I'm terrible at those too. That's your first chuckle. You step back, catching your breath, and notice a crowd forming rowdy, reeking of mead, and tossing coins at the stone. Here's a quirky fact. Medieval folks believed sacred stones like this held spirits, and they'd leave offerings, rings, coins, even carved bones to curry favor with the magic. You spot a pile of trinkets, like a mystical yard sale, and toss in a bent nail from your pocket, half hoping it'll spark something. Nothing happens, but a kid in the crowd, clutching a stolen apple, cheers you on. You gonna be king, he asks. You laugh. Kid, I'd lose the crown in a ditch by noon. That's your second joke. And his giggle makes you feel briefly heroic. The crowd buzzes as a boy steps forward, Arthur. Though you don't know it yet, he's Skravne, with messy hair and a nervous twitch, like he's late for a job interview. Scholars debate one question: was Excalibur's stone a divine test, or a trick rigged by Merlin to crown his chosen king? Texts, like Geoffrey of Monmouth's Historia Regum Britanniae, lean toward magic, while skeptics argue Merlin used clever mechanics. You're too busy dodging a thrown cabbage to care. But you whisper, if Merlin's behind this, he's the ultimate stage mom. That's your third humorous moment, landing with a smirk as the raven flaps closer. Eyeing the cabbage, Arthur grips the hilt, and the air crackles, like a storm's brewing in your bones. He pulls, and with a sound like a bell's chime, the sword slides free. The crowd roars, but you're stuck on how he made it look effortless. You mutter, bet he's got a gym membership with Merlin. That's your fourth joke. And the peasant nearby snorts, clearly Team Arthur. Chaos erupts, some cheer, others yell fraud, and you're just trying not to get trampled. You slip to the clearing's edge, where an old woman hands you a twig, saying it's blessed to guide you. You pocket it, skeptical, but too tired to argue. You decide to help, though classic you, jumping in over your head. You shout, he's got the sword. Back off to a rowdy skeptic, and surprisingly, they listen, giving Arthur space. You're a new hero, but that felt good. The old woman nods, like you've passed a test, and you notice the twigs faintly warm now. Maybe magic, maybe your imagination. Arthur holds Excalibur high, its blade catching moonlight like a beacon. A quirky detail ties in here, some legends say. Excalibur's glow came from ancient runes etched in the blade, visible only to the worthy. You squint, seeing nothing, and grumble. Guess I'm not on the VIP list. That's your fifth joke. Sealing your role as Camelot's clumsiest sidekick, the crowd's cheers fade as you slip into the forest, the twig tucked safely away. The raven follows, but this time it drops a shiny bead at your feet. Like a begrudging gift, you pick it up, wondering if it's mocking you less now. The path ahead is dark, leading to Merlin, to magic, to a destiny you're wildly unprepared for. But the stream nearby murmurs softly, its rhythm easing your pulse, and the mist feels like a cool caress. You're not a knight, not even close, but you're in this story, and that's enough for now. You take a deep breath, the world slowing, and keep walking, one steady step at a time. You're weaving through a forest now, the kind where every twig snap sounds like trouble, and that cane K from the old woman, still warm in your pocket, feels like it's whispering directions, or maybe just mocking your sense of direction. The air's cool, scented with pine and damp earth, and your cloak, miraculously less muddy, flaps against your legs, that raven's back, gliding between branches, but this time it's carrying a tiny twig in its beak, like it's building a nest or staging a protest. You're chasing whispers of Merlin, the wizard who's supposed to shape Arthur into a king. But right now, you're just hoping for a dry spot to rest. The distant trickle of a stream soothes your nerves, its gentle rhythm tugging at your eyelids, promising a cozy pause if you can just avoid tripping again. A glow flickers ahead, not a friendly campfire, but a pulsing orb, bobbing like it's fed up with its owner. You creep closer and spot Merlin, his robes a patchwork of stars and stains, muttering to the orb like it's a grumpy intern. This is the Orthodox event, Merlin's mentorship of Arthur, the magical spark behind Camelot's rise, chronicled in tales like Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur. Arthur's not here yet, and you're the one stuck with a wizard who looks like he'd argue with a tree. You whisper, "This guy's like a tech bro, but his startup's all sparkles." That's your first chuckle. Merlin spots you, his eyes glinting like he's already 3 steps ahead. "Lost wanderer?" he asks, voice smooth but sharp. You nod, figuring honesty's safer than bluffing a wizard. He offers you a glowing mushroom, claiming it's vision-inducing. Here's a quirky fact. Medieval herbalists used fungi in potions, believing some, like the rare mooncap, could spark dreams or heal wounds, though most just upset your stomach. You decline, saying, "I'd rather not dream of talking ravens. Thanks." That's your second joke, and the raven drops its twig, cawing like it's personally offended. Merlin beckons you to a clearing, where a small fire crackles, its warmth chasing the forest's chill. You sit, the ground soft with moss, and the fire's glow wraps you like a blanket. He talks about Arthur, how the boy's heart could unify a fractured land. Scholars debate one question: was Merlin a historical figure? Perhaps a druid like those described in Tacitus's Annals, or a myth woven to legitimize Arthur's rule. Some argue he was a Celtic seer, others, a literary invention. You're half listening, distracted by the orb, which you swear just winked at you. Bet that thing's got better stories than Merlin. You mutter, your third humorous moment landing as Merlin shoots you a look. He's teaching you a spell now, summoning light. Simpla stuff. You try, waving your hands like a kid playing wizard, and produce a spark that fizzles instantly. Merlin chuckles, but you're determined. You grab the can-K from your pocket, hoping it's got some juice, and try again. This time, a faint glow blooms, weak but real. Not bad, Merlin says, tossing you a rune-carved stone as a reward. You pocket it beside the nail from the stone, feeling a spark of pride. This is your moment of action, a small win that makes you more than a bystander. Merlin's orb pulses, and he mutters about shadows stirring. You don't like that vibe. but the fire's warmth keeps you grounded. He tells a tale of Excalibur, how its runes forged by ancient smiths. Some say from star metal bind it to Arthur's soul. You trace the rune stone, wondering if it's connected to the sword's glow you saw back at the stone. The raven lands nearby, dropping another twig, this one oddly shiny, like it's been polished. You pick it up, muttering, you starting a collection? Or just showing off? That's your fourth joke. And the raven tilts its head, almost smug. Arthur stumbles in, clutching a sack of apples, looking like he fought a bramble and lost. Merlin gasps, tripping over a root. You stifle a laugh, thinking, kid's got a magic sword, but zero survival skills. That's your fifth joke. And Merlin sighs, like he's rethinking his life choices. He starts lecturing Arthur about destiny. But you're drawn to the fire, its crackle blending with the stream's murmur, slowing your thoughts. This is the sleep-friendly rhythm, the story easing you into a golden haze. You're not a sorcerer, but that spark you summoned, it's enough to make you feel part of this. Merlin hands you a leaf, saying it'll point to Camelot. You're skeptical, another stick. Really, but it rustles faintly, like it's alive. Arthur's listening to Merlin, eyes wide, and you feel a pang of something hope. Maybe. For a kid carrying a kingdom's weight, the rune stone hums in your pocket, and you wonder if it's tied to the nail, the kankai, or something bigger. The raven takes flight, its wings a soft beat against the night, and the stars peek through the trees. Sharp and calm, you lean back, the moss cradling you, and let the forest's quiet hold you. Just for a moment, you're slipping into Camelot's heart now, the kankai in your pocket humming softly, like it's eager to see the castle's chaos. While the runestone from Merlin clinks against the nail you tossed at the swordstone, the courtyard sprawls before you, a maze of torchlight and laughter, with banners snapping in the breeze like they're cheering you on. That raven's here, perched on a cart, nibbling a stolen crust, its eyes glinting like it's your unofficial guide. Your cloak's holding up, barely, and the air's thick with roasted meat and mead, a warm promise that makes your stomach rumble. The clatter of goblets and a bard's off-key strumming pull you forward, a cozy riot that feels like a party you're not sure you're invited to. But the firelight's glow tugs you in, whispering rest. You dodge a guard juggling apples poorly and find yourself at the round table, a massive slab of oak carved with runes that shimmer like starlight. This is the orthodox event, the founding of the Round Table, where Arthur forged his knights into a brotherhood for justice. As sung in chronicles like the Vulgate Cycle, it's less noble council, though, and more rowdy tavern brawl, with knights shouting over each other like it's a medieval podcast gone wrong. You grab a goblet of mead, sweet, but strong, and mutter, this is like a fantasy tailgate. But the snacks are just bread. That's your first chuckle. The table's packed with legends. Lancelot, smirking like he's ready for his close-up. Gawain, waving a tankard and debating lance grips. And Arthur, trying to look kingly but clearly overwhelmed. A quirky fact hits you. The Round Table's circular design wasn't just aesthetic, it leveled the playing field. A bold move in a world where nobles hoarded power like dragons with gold. You're on a rickety stool, feeling like the odd one out, when a knight, burly and bearded, shoves a quill your way. Sign the wager, he booms, pointing to a scroll betting on tomorrow's joust. You scribble your name, betting on Gawain's horse to trip, and grin. I'd bet on myself, but I'd fall off the horse in 10 seconds. That's your second joke, and the knight roars, nearly toppling you. You decide to stir things up. Why not? You stand, raising your goblet, and shout, to Arthur's table, where we're all equally bad at singing. The knights laugh, some clinking tankards, and Arthur shoots you a grateful nod, like you've eased the tension. It's a small move, but it plants you in the story. Not just watching. Scholars debate one question here: was the Round Table Arthur's vision, or Merlin's scheme to tame rival lords? Texts, like Wace's Roman de Brute, credit Arthur's idealism. But others hint Merlin engineered it to prevent civil war. You're distracted by a knight sneaking a pie. And whisper, "Mate, you're not slick. That's a whole bakery crime." That's your third humorous moment. A sly jab, as the knight fumbles his prize. The mood shifts as Arthur stands, Excalibur at his hip. Its runes, maybe star metal. Like Merlin said, catching the firelight. He speaks of unity. A kingdom where might serves right. And the room quiets. His words heavy with hope. You're caught up. Your mead forgotten. Because this kid's carrying a dream bigger than Camelot. The raven hops closer, dropping a shiny button at your feet. Like it's paying you for the entertainment. You pocket it with the nail, gankai, and runestone, muttering, "You're my weirdest fan. Bird." That's your fourth joke. And the raven's caw sounds almost proud. A knight starts a chant, and the table erupts, singing terribly about dragons and glory. You're swept in, your goblet sloshing as someone hands you a drum. You tap it, offbeat, and Lancelot laughs. Stick to toasting. Friend, you shrug. Yeah, I'm the rhythmless wonder of Camelot. That's your fifth joke. Landing as the raven flaps to a rafter. Like it's done with your nonsense. The fire crackles, casting golden shadows, and the noise softens to a hum, like a lullaby for rowdy souls. This is the sleep-friendly rhythm. The story slowing, wrapping you in warmth. You sink onto a bench, the oak creaking, and feel the moment hold you. Solid and real. Arthur's voice fade, blending with the fire's pop and the distant strum of that awful bard. You spot Merlin by the door, his orb flickering, like it's winking at your little toast stunt. The runestone in your pocket hums, maybe tied to the table's runes. And you wonder if the Can-K led you here for a reason. The stars outside gleam through a window, sharp against the night, and your eyelids droop, the mead's sweetness lingering. You're no knight, just a stranger who raised a glass. But you're part of this chaos, and that's enough. The fire's glow pulls you deeper, and you let the story carry you, one sleepy breath at a time. You're trudging toward a lake now, the Can-K in your pocket, pulsing like it's got a heartbeat, while the runestone, nail, and shiny button clink together. A quirky collection that's starting to feel like a quest log. The mist swirls low, brushing your ankles, and the air smells of wet reeds and secrets. That raven's gliding overhead, clutching a sprig of lavender, like it's decided to class up its act. Your boots crunch on gravel, a welcome change from mud, and the lake's gentle ripples catch the moonlight. They're soft lapping a lullaby that eases your tired bones. You're here for Excalibur, or its lake-bound twin, because apparently Camelot's sword drama needed a sequel. And you're the unlucky sidekick dragged along. A shimmer breaks the water, and there she is, the Lady of the Lake, rising like she's headlining a medieval light show. Her gown glittering with dew. Excalibur gleams in her hands. Its runes, maybe that star metal Merlin mentioned, flashing like a warning. This is the orthodox event. The lady bestowing Excalibur on Arthur. A moment etched in texts like the Lancelot Grail as the seal of his kingship. Arthur's not here yet, and you're stuck facing a water spirit who looks like she'd outwit you at chess. You mutter. This is like meeting a CEO who knows you flunked the interview. That's your first chuckle. She smirks, eyes sharp as the sword. Want this blade, she asks. Voice like a melody with teeth. You nod, because backing out now feels like admitting defeat. She points to a riddle carved on a mossy stone, glowing faintly. A quirky fact. Celtic lore often tied sacred lakes to offerings, flowers, bread, even silver left to appease water spirits. Believed to guard treasures like Excalibur. You've got nothing to offer. So you fish out the button from the raven and place it on the stone, hoping it counts. Not bad, she says, raising an eyebrow. You grin. Yeah. I'm the thrift store champion of Camelot. That's your second joke. And the raven drops its lavender, cawing like it's cheering. The riddle's about sacrifice. And you're stumped. Your mind stuck on how chilly the lake is. You mumble something about giving up pride for a cause. Thinking of Arthur's dream. She nods, impressed, and tosses you a pearl that hums like the runestone. You pocket it, feeling a spark of victory. To prove yourself further, you decide to act. You wade closer, ignoring the cold, and say, Arthur's worth it. He's building something real. It's bold. And she pauses, like you've earned a point. Scholars debate one question: was the lady a divine figure, like the Celtic goddess Coventina, or a symbol to legitimize Arthur's rule? The post-Vulgate cycle leans divine, but skeptics argue she's a narrative prop. You're too busy shivering to care. But you whisper, if she's a prop, she's got better stage presence than Merlin. That's your third humorous moment. Landing as she smirks again. She raises Excalibur, its light dancing across the lake, and you're mesmerized, the glow pulling you like a warm hearth. The water's rhythm slows your breath, the mist a soft veil, easing you into calm. This is the sleep-friendly vibe, the story cradling you in its shimmer. Arthur stumbles through the reeds, soaked and clutching his sack of apples. Merlin sent me. He pants, and the lady's eyes glint, like she's been waiting. You step back, but not before tossing the lavender sprig toward her stone, a cheeky offering that makes her laugh. You're not useless, she says, and you quip, high praise. I'll put it on my medieval resume. That's your fourth joke. And the raven swoops low, like it's proud of your hustle. The lady quizzes Arthur, her questions sharper than yours, but he answers with that earnest fire you saw at the table. She hands him Excalibur, and the lake hums, a deep note that vibrates in your chest. You're just a bystander again, but your pearl's glowing now, maybe tied to the sword's runes. You slog to shore, the Kankei still pulsing, and mutter, bet I'd look cooler waving that sword than splashing like a drowned rat. That's your fifth joke. Sealing your role as Camelot's soggiest cheerleader, the raven lands nearby, dropping another lavender sprig, like it's curating your collection. Arthur's staring at Excalibur, eyes wide, like it's heavier than he expected. The lady vanishes, leaving ripples that fade into stillness, and the moonlight paints the lake silver. You're cold but alive. The pearls hum a quiet thrill. The path back to Camelot stretches ahead, and you know a coronation's coming. One you're not ready for but can't escape. For now, the lake's soft lapping and the stars' gentle glow wrap you like a quilt. You take a deep breath, the world slowing, and trudge on, one steady step at a time. You're weaving through Camelot's crowded courtyard, the Kankei in your pocket glowing faintly, like it's thrilled to be at the heart of the kingdom, while your collection nail, rune stone, button, and pearl clinks like a jangling talisman. Torches spit sparks, banners flutter like they're gossiping, and the air's rich with roasted boar and honeyed mead, a warm scent that makes your stomach beg for a bite. That raven's perched on a barrel, preening with a sprig of lavender tucked in its feathers, like it's ready for the royal red carpet. The crowd's a buzzing swarm, their cheers a wild hum, and the firelight's glow pulls you in, a cozy promise of a night that feels bigger than you. You're here for Arthur's coronation, and the energy's so thick it's like you've stumbled into a medieval rock concert. The ceremony's unfolding, a grand stage where Arthur's about to be crowned king, Excalibur's runes flashing at his side. This is the orthodox event, Arthur's coronation, a pivotal moment in chronicles like the alliterative Morte Arthur, marking Camelot's dawn. It's chaotic, though, with knights jostling and a bard mangling a ballad worse than a karaoke disaster. You squeeze near a stone pillar, clutching a warm roll you snagged, and mutter, this is like a royal Oscars, but the speeches are in rhyme. That's your first chuckle. Arthur stands, nervous but steady, as a bishop in a gilded robe anoints him with oil. A quirky fact, medieval coronations used chrism oil, blended with rare spices like myrrh, believed to carry divine favor, though it smelled like a pungent tea gone wrong. You catch a whiff and wrinkle your nose, thinking of the lavender, the ravens sporting. A kid nearby, waving a stick like a tiny knight, asks. You think he's scared. You grin. Kid, I'd be shaking more than a squire facing Lancelot. That's your second joke. And the kid laughs, swinging his stick with extra gusto. You decide to help the mood classic Gue Enzelator. Diving in, you toss the lavender sprig toward the stage, shouting, "For the king." It lands near Arthur, and the crowd cheers. Thinking it's a tradition, Arthur smiles, a flicker of relief, and you feel a spark of pride, like you're part of this. Scholars debate one question: was Arthur's coronation a unified triumph, or a tense standoff with rival lords? The Historia Regum Britanniae paints it as a glorious start, but hints of dissent suggest some nobles eyed Excalibur with envy. You spot a lord scowling and whisper, "Bet he's mad his crown's just a bad hat." That's your third humorous moment, landing as the raven caws. Like it's your hype bird, the bishop places a simple crown on Arthur's head, and Excalibur gleams, its light washing the courtyard in gold. The cheers erupt, shaking the stones, and you're clapping, caught in the moment, because this kid's now a king. The feast kicks off knights arm wrestling, maids dodging spilled tankards, and a dog swiping a sausage. You're handed a drumstick, juicy and perfect, and take a bite, savoring the warmth. The raven hops closer, dropping a polished pebble at your feet. Like it's gifting you a coronation souvenir. You pocket it, muttering, "You're my weirdest wingman." Bird. That's your fourth joke, and its caw sounds almost fond. The fire crackles, shadows dancing, and the noise softens to a hum, like a song for a newborn kingdom. This is the sleep-friendly rhythm, the story slowing, wrapping you in its glow. You lean against the pillar, the stone cool but steady, and feel Camelot's pulse. Merlin's by the gate, his orb pulsing, like it's nodding at your lavender stunt. The pearl in your pocket hums, maybe linked to Excalibur's runes, and you wonder if the Khan Kayi's glow means you're meant to be here. A knight shoves a tankard your way, and you sip, coughing. This mead's why I'd flunk a Camelot bar crawl. That's your fifth joke, landing as the knight laughs, nearly toppling you. The stars burn bright, framing the castle's towers, and Arthur's mingling. Excalibur sheathed but alive. Your new hero, just a stranger who tossed a flower and cheered. But you're woven into this legend now. The fire's warmth seeps into you, your eyelids heavy, and the courtyard's hum fades. A gentle lullaby. You're part of Camelot's story, and as the night deepens, you let it carry you, one sleepy breath at a time. You're drifting from the courtyard now, the coronation's roar melting into a whisper, like a song fading in a dream. The castle's towers blur against the stars, and you wander to a quiet meadow, the grass soft under your bare feet, cool and grounding. The air carries a hint of lavender, a nod to the raven's gift, and the cricket's chirp weaves a delicate hum, easing you into peace. You're safe here, far from swords and crowns, from the weight of a kingdom you never meant to chase. The Kenke, nail, and pearl are still, their magic quiet, but they're with you, like echoes of a tale well told. Lee back, the earth, a gentle cradle, and let the stars spin slow above. In your mind, Excalibur glimmers, not in Arthur's hand but in a dream where you hold it, light as a feather, its runes whispering courage. You're no king, just you, and that's enough. The breeze brushes your face, soft as a sigh, and your breaths deepen, pulling you into calm. The meadow fades, the stars blur, and all that's left is warmth, quiet, a dream of light. You drift, weightless, into sleep's embrace, and the night holds you close. Script complete. Sleep well.